The convoy moves through morning traffic outside Tehran, 3 armored vehicles surrounding a single black Nissan. Inside sits a man whose face appears in classified databases across 3 continents, whose elimination has been authorized at the highest levels of Israeli government, whose death Iran will call an act of war. The 27th of November, 2020. The highway stretches quiet under pale sky. 13 rounds fire in controlled bursts from a weapon mounted in a parked truck 150 meters away. No human pulls the trigger. The system fires itself, guided by artificial intelligence that has analyzed satellite imagery, compensated for motion and distance, confirmed the target's face through tinted glass, and executed commands transmitted from over 1,000 miles away. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh dies on the roadside, his security convoy in chaos, his bodyguards firing at shadows. The weapon that killed him self-destructs seconds later, erasing evidence and injuring those who approach. What remains is a question that will echo through defense ministries and intelligence agencies worldwide. If assassination can be conducted remotely, autonomously, with no human operator at risk, what does sovereignty mean? What does security mean? This is how Mossad killed Iran's top nuclear scientist without putting a single operative inside Iranian territory, and why that perfection should terrify anyone paying attention. The dead man's name was Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, though most of the world had never heard it until the morning he died. To students at Tehran's Imam Hussein University, he was a reserved physics professor who published papers on nuclear energy and avoided media attention. To Western intelligence agencies, he was something entirely different. The architect of Iran's nuclear weapons program, the irreplaceable mind behind 2 decades of covert effort to build atomic capability that could reshape the Middle East's balance of power. Born in 1,958 inches, the city of Qom, Fakhrizadeh grew up in Iran, transitioning from monarchy to theocracy. He studied physics at Shahid Beheshti University, excelling in nuclear science while simultaneously training as an officer in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. This dual education, academic and military, would define his entire career. By his mid-20s, he had merged both worlds into a singular purpose, applying scientific rigor to weapons development in service of a revolutionary state that viewed nuclear capability as existential necessity. His rise through Iran's defense establishment came through demonstrated competence rather than political theater. While others courted attention, Fakhrizadeh accumulated responsibility quietly. In the late 1992s, he was appointed head of the AMAD project, Iran's organized effort to develop nuclear weapons technology under the cover of civilian research. The program operated in compartmentalized cells across multiple facilities: Natanz, Fordo, Parchin. Each site contributing fragments of knowledge that only Fakhrizadeh could assemble into weaponizable design. Intelligence reports from the period describe him as methodical to the point of obsession. He trusted few people, delegated minimally, and maintained personal oversight of critical calculations. Colleagues later recalled his insistence on redundancy in every system, his refusal to rely on single points of failure, and his ability to hold complex technical specifications in memory without written notes. He rarely smiled. When he spoke, others listened not from charisma, but from the weight of expertise they couldn't challenge. Israeli intelligence first flagged Fakhrizadeh in the early 2000s. When intercepted, communications revealed his central role, coordinating uranium enrichment research with weapons design theory. Analysts described him as the connective tissue between Iran's dispersed nuclear infrastructure. Remove him, assessments suggested, and the program wouldn't collapse, but would be significantly disrupted. Replacing his specific combination of technical knowledge, operational security discipline, and institutional trust would take years. By 2010, his name appeared in classified briefings presented to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The assessment was stark. Fakhrizadeh represented Iran's most valuable strategic asset in the nuclear domain, more critical than any single facility or stockpile of enriched material. Facilities could be rebuilt, material could be produced, but the institutional knowledge residing in one brilliant, disciplined mind was irreplaceable in the near term. What made Fakhrizadeh particularly dangerous wasn't just his scientific capability, but his operational philosophy. He understood that Iran's program faced constant sabotage from Israeli and American intelligence services. Stuxnet had already crippled centrifuges at Natanz. Mysterious explosions destroyed research facilities. Scientists were assassinated in Tehran, traffic between 2010 and 2012, gunned down or blown apart by magnetic bombs attached to their vehicles. Fakhrizadeh studied each incident, learning from colleagues' deaths how not to die. He became a case study in adaptive security, someone who treated his own survival as an engineering problem requiring continuous iteration. His personal security measures evolved from basic precautions to elaborate protocols that made conventional assassination effectively impossible. He traveled exclusively in armored vehicles, rotating through multiple identical sedans to prevent pattern recognition. His movements followed no schedule. Meetings were arranged through intermediaries, using randomized timing. He avoided public appearances entirely, declining interviews and academic conferences that would require advance notification of location. His residential compound in eastern Tehran featured layered security, high walls, surveillance cameras covering every approach angle, armed guards operating in rotating shifts to prevent routine from creating vulnerabilities. When he traveled to his country villa near Absard, the route changed each time. Lead vehicles scouted ahead. Trail vehicles blocked pursuit angles. Armed guards rode in adjacent cars, trained to respond instantly to threats. Communication security was equally rigorous. Fakhrizadeh used no personal mobile phone, relying instead on secure landlines in controlled environments. Meetings occurred in locations swept for listening devices. Written documents were hand-delivered by trusted couriers rather than transmitted electronically. He existed in an information vacuum that Western signals intelligence struggled to penetrate. To Israeli planners watching from Tel Aviv, the challenge was obvious. Conventional assassination methodologies, those that had worked against other Iranian nuclear scientists, wouldn't work here. A motorcyclist couldn't approach his convoy without being engaged by security teams. A car bomb couldn't be planted when his vehicles were stored in guarded facilities and swept before each use. Poison required proximity that no operative could achieve. Sniper fire demanded predictable locations he never provided. Intelligence assessments concluded that any ground operation attempting to kill Fakhrizadeh inside Iran would likely fail, and would certainly expose operatives to capture or death. The security architecture surrounding him was simply too comprehensive, built from the lessons of every previous Israeli success against Iranian targets. Yet his value as a target only increased. By 2018, Israeli intelligence seized Iranian nuclear archives in a daring Tehran raid, extracting thousands of documents that confirmed Fakhrizadeh's central role. His signature appeared on weapons design schematics. His name topped organizational charts showing AMAD's structure. The archive proved what analysts had long suspected. Iran's nuclear weapons program hadn't ended in 2003, as Tehran claimed, but had continued under Fakhrizadeh's direction, camouflaged within legitimate research institutions. The authorization for his elimination came through encrypted channels in 2020, approved at the highest levels of Israeli government. The decision followed months of assessment, concluding that removing Fakhrizadeh would delay Iran's weapons capability by an estimated 6 months to 2 years, while successors attempted to reconstruct his institutional knowledge and operational networks. But authorization meant nothing without methodology. How do you kill a man who has made himself unkillable through conventional means? A man protected by layers of security, unpredictable in movement, invisible in pattern? The answer wouldn't come from traditional tradecraft or human courage, but from technology that transformed assassination from an art practiced by operatives into a science executed by machines. Iran built a fortress around Fakhrizadeh, not of walls, but of procedures refined through paranoia and bitter experience. Every scientist assassinated between 2010 and 2012 had taught Iranian security services a lesson in Israeli capability. Majid Shahriari, killed by magnetic bomb attached to his car in Tehran traffic. Mustafa Ahmadi Roshan eliminated the same way 2 years later. Dariush Rezayanajad shot outside his daughter's kindergarten. Each death demonstrated that proximity meant vulnerability, that predictable movement meant death. Fakhrizadeh studied these killings like textbooks in survival. He implemented security protocols that transformed his daily existence into constant operational discipline, accepting the imprisonment that came with being irreplaceable. His convoy system operated on principles of redundancy and unpredictability. 3 to 5 armored vehicles traveled together, their configuration rotating. Sometimes he rode in the lead car, other times in the middle or rear. The vehicles themselves were identical black Nissan sedans, making target identification impossible from external observation. Armed guards from the Revolutionary Guard's elite Quds force rode in each vehicle, trained in counter-ambush tactics and authorized to engage threats with immediate lethal force. Routes changed for every journey. No address was visited twice via the same roads. Security teams scouted paths hours in advance, checking for suspicious vehicles, unusual construction, anything that might conceal an ambush or surveillance position. The convoys moved at variable speeds, sometimes slow to allow counter-surveillance, sometimes fast to minimize exposure windows. Traffic was never predictable enough to allow timing-based attacks. Communication protocols were equally rigorous. Fakhrizadeh carried no mobile phone, understanding that cellular devices were tracking beacons that intelligence services could exploit for geolocation or triggered explosives. His coordination with colleagues occurred through secure landlines in swept facilities or through face-to-face meetings arranged by trusted intermediaries. Written documents moved via courier in locked cases, never photographed or scanned. His residential compound in eastern Tehran exemplified defensive architecture. High concrete walls, topped with security cameras, created complete perimeter surveillance. Entry required passing through 2 checkpoints with biometric verification. Guards operated in overlapping shifts, ensuring no gap in coverage and preventing routine from creating exploitable patterns. Motion sensors covered the grounds. Backup generators ensured surveillance remained active during power outages. Even garbage collection was monitored, with refuse searched before leaving the compound to prevent intelligence services from analyzing discarded materials. When Fakhrizadeh traveled to his country villa near Absard, approximately 40 miles east of Tehran, the security apparatus moved with him. The villa itself sat behind similar walls and cameras. The surrounding area was pre-scouted for potential sniper positions or observation posts. Local security forces received advance notification to increase patrols. The journey occurred only on weekends and never on a consistent schedule, sometimes Friday, sometimes Saturday. Occasionally, he would cancel trips at the last moment, returning home if security teams reported anything unusual along the route. Counter-surveillance teams operated separately from the convoy, tracking potential watchers. These units looked for repeated vehicles, cameras positioned near Fakhrizadeh's known locations, individuals showing excessive interest in security procedures. Anyone flagged as suspicious faced investigation by Iranian intelligence services, interrogation if suspicion warranted, detention if evidence suggested foreign direction. This architecture of protection had kept Fakhrizadeh alive for over a decade, while colleagues died around him. Israeli intelligence officers privately acknowledged the challenge he presented. Standard assassination methodologies, those proven effective against other targets, failed against someone who had eliminated pattern from his existence. A car bomb required knowing which vehicle he occupied and when it would be in a specific location. His rotating convoy made the first impossible. His unpredictable schedule made the second unlikely. A motorcyclist carrying weapons, the method used against other Iranian scientists, couldn't approach without being engaged by armed escorts traveling in adjacent vehicles. Poison required proximity that no operative could achieve when he met only trusted contacts in secured locations. Sniper fire demanded knowing where he would be at a specific time, data his security protocols were designed to deny. Even sophisticated methods faced obstacles. Drone strikes were theoretically possible but would constitute an overt act of war, risking escalation that Israeli planners wanted to avoid. Cyber attacks could disrupt his communications or compromise his research, but couldn't physically eliminate him. Recruiting a close associate for assassination required penetrating his inner circle, a group so small and monitored that any recruitment attempt would likely be detected before activation. Israeli operational assessments concluded that any ground-based assassination attempt would require multiple operatives inside Iran, extended surveillance to identify a vulnerability window, and acceptance of high probability that the team would be killed or captured even if the mission succeeded. The risk-to-reward calculation didn't favor conventional approaches, yet the strategic value of his elimination remained undeniable. Intelligence analysis suggested that removing Fakhrizadeh would create a knowledge vacuum that successors couldn't fill quickly. His expertise wasn't documented comprehensively. His operational methods existed largely in his memory and personal notes stored in secured facilities. His network of contacts and suppliers was compartmentalized, known fully only to him. Killing him wouldn't destroy Iran's nuclear program, but would significantly delay its progress toward weaponization. The question facing Israeli planners wasn't whether to kill Fakhrizadeh, but how. How do you eliminate a target who has perfected the discipline of being untouchable? Who has learned from every mistake that killed his colleagues? Who lives inside a security cocoon specifically designed to prevent the very operation you need to execute? The answer emerged not from intelligence tradecraft refined over decades, but from technology that existed at the intersection of artificial intelligence, satellite communications, and autonomous weapons systems. What Israeli engineers designed was unprecedented. A method that didn't require operatives near the target, that could execute in seconds before security could respond, that transformed assassination from human risk into technological precision. What Israeli planners designed was unprecedented in the history of targeted killing. Not an operation dependent on human courage or proximity, but a weapon system that could identify, track, and eliminate a target from over 1,000 miles away with no operatives at risk and no possibility of interrogation if captured. The concept merged cutting-edge artificial intelligence with satellite communication and autonomous firearms into a killing machine that could execute an assassination while its operators sat safely beyond Iranian borders. Development began in early 2019 at a classified facility believed to be located in the Negev desert. Engineers from Israel's defense industry, working alongside Mossad's technical division, faced a problem that required solving multiple technological challenges simultaneously. The weapon had to be compact enough to smuggle into Iran in components, powerful enough to penetrate armored vehicles, accurate enough to distinguish one face from others in a moving convoy, and autonomous enough to fire without real-time human control, compensating for the unavoidable satellite delay that made remote piloting effectively impossible. The core weapon selected was a modified FN mag machine gun, a Belgian-designed 50 caliber system used by militaries worldwide. Engineers stripped it to essential components, reducing weight while maintaining structural integrity. The barrel was shortened slightly to improve concealment without sacrificing accuracy at the planned engagement distance of 150 to 200 meters. A custom ammunition feed system held approximately 150 rounds, enough for sustained fire if initial bursts missed or if security forces attempted to suppress the weapon. Mounting the gun required engineering a stabilization platform that could absorb recoil while maintaining aim. The system used gyroscopic sensors and hydraulic dampeners similar to those employed in naval weapons systems, allowing the gun to fire multiple rounds while keeping the barrel oriented on target despite vibration and mechanical stress. The entire assembly, gun, and stabilization rig weighed approximately 120 kilograms, light enough for 2 people to move, but heavy enough to remain stable during firing. Aiming the weapon presented the operation's central challenge. Traditional remote weapons rely on human operators viewing camera feeds and making targeting decisions in real time. But satellite communication between Israel and Iran introduced a delay of several seconds, too long to track a moving vehicle and adjust aim manually. By the time an operator saw the target and transmitted a firing command, the convoy would have moved dozens of meters. Human piloting was impossible. The solution was artificial intelligence, trained specifically to recognize Mohsen Fakhrizade's face and distinguish him from passengers, security guards, and random civilians. Engineers fed the system hundreds of photographs of Fakhrizadeh collected over years of surveillance. Images from different angles, different lighting conditions, different ages. The AI learned not just to identify his face, but to predict where it would be milliseconds ahead, compensating for vehicle motion, camera shake, and the target's own movement within the car. Testing occurred in the Negev across months of trial runs. Engineers constructed mock convoys using vehicles identical to those in Fakhrizadeh's security detail. Test drivers followed randomized routes at varying speeds, while the weapon system, mounted in a concealed position, attempted target acquisition and tracking. Early results were inconsistent. The AI struggled with glare from windshields, with partial facial obstruction from window frames, with the angular distortion caused by moving vehicles. Refinements came through iteration, better cameras with enhanced light sensitivity, algorithms adjusted to account for reflection patterns on automotive glass, predictive modeling that anticipated vehicle speed and trajectory, allowing the system to aim slightly ahead of the target's current position. By mid-2020, testing showed reliable facial recognition and tracking at distances up to 200 meters against moving targets traveling at highway speeds. The weapon's autonomous firing protocol was calibrated for precision over volume. Once the AI confirmed target identification with high confidence, the system would fire controlled bursts of 3 to 5 rounds, reassess, and fire again if the target remained in view and alive. Total engagement time was designed to last under 60 seconds, long enough to ensure lethality, but short enough to complete before security forces could locate the weapon's position and neutralize it. Communication infrastructure required satellite uplinks, capable of transmitting encrypted video feeds and receiving authorization commands across continental distances. Engineers embedded the system in a Nissan pickup truck, disguising the weapon beneath a tarp in the truck bed. Solar panels hidden in the vehicle's roof provided power for the weapons, electronics, cameras, and satellite transmitter. From external observation, the truck appeared to be a common commercial vehicle, unremarkable in Iranian traffic. The system included a self-destruct mechanism designed to activate either on remote command or if tampering was detected. Explosive charges packed around the weapons, electronics, and AI processors would detonate with enough force to destroy identifying components and injure anyone attempting immediate examination. This ensured that even if the operation failed or Iranian forces reached the truck quickly, The technology behind the assassination would remain largely unexplained. What made the weapon truly revolutionary wasn't any single component, but their integration. Satellite reconnaissance identified Fakhrizadeh's convoy. AI distinguished him from others in the vehicle. Autonomous firing compensated for distance, motion, and timing. Self-destruct erased evidence. The entire system operated with minimal human intervention, transforming assassination from an act of individual violence into an algorithmic process executed by networked machines. Intelligence sources later indicated that total development costs exceeded $15 million. A significant investment for a single operation, but justified by the target's strategic value and the reusability of the technology for future missions. The system represented not just a weapon, but a template. Once proven operational, the methodology could be adapted for other high-value targets living under similar security constraints. By October 2020, testing was complete and the weapon system ready for deployment. What remained was the far more dangerous challenge of moving it from Israel into Iran without detection, assembling it in position along a route Fakhrizadeh would travel, and waiting for the moment when intelligence confirmed he was approaching the kill zone. In the months before November 2020, Israeli intelligence intensified surveillance on Fakhrizadeh's movements, searching for the vulnerability that security protocols couldn't eliminate. Satellite imagery tracked his convoy traveling between Tehran and his country villa near Absard, a small town approximately 40 miles east of the capital. Signals intelligence monitored communications between his security detail and Revolutionary Guard command centers. Pattern analysis software processed years of data, looking for the predictable moment that even the most disciplined target eventually provides. The vulnerability emerged not from carelessness, but from routine masked as randomness. Fakhrizadeh visited his Absard villa most weekends, timing irregular enough to defeat schedule-based attacks, but frequent enough to establish the route as a recurring exposure point. The highway connecting Tehran to Absard offered limited alternate paths. Geography constrained options. Mountains flanked the road, funneling traffic through predictable corridors. Intelligence analysts identified several locations along the route where line of sight from elevated positions allowed clear observation of passing vehicles. Authorization came through encrypted channels in late October 2020. The operation, reportedly codenamed Persian Chess, received final approval from Israeli political and military leadership. Assessment indicated that conditions aligned favorably. The weapon system was tested and operational. Intelligence had identified positioning options. Local assets were ready to provide support. Getting the weapon into Iran required exploiting gaps in border security and utilizing networks built over years of covert operations. Intelligence sources later suggested the system entered through Azerbaijan, where Israeli intelligence maintained relationships with security services and where borders with Iran were porous enough for organized smuggling. The weapon was disassembled into components that appeared innocuous when inspected separately. The machine gun broken into parts resembling industrial machinery, electronics packed in containers labeled as commercial satellite equipment. The Nissan pickup truck acquired locally through intermediaries who asked no questions about the buyer's identity or intentions. Assembly occurred at a safe house located in a rural area north of Tehran, sufficiently remote to avoid surveillance, but close enough to the target zone for rapid positioning. The team conducting assembly likely consisted of local assets, either recruited Iranian nationals sympathetic to Israel or foreign operatives with cover identities, allowing them to move through Iranian territory without attracting attention. Operational security required that these individuals knew only their specific tasks, not the broader mission or the identity of the target. The weapon system was mounted in the truck bed, concealed beneath a tarp and agricultural equipment that provided visual cover. Solar panels integrated into the vehicles, roof-fed power to the weapons, electronic systems, and satellite uplink. Testing confirmed that cameras could acquire clear imagery through gaps in the covering, that the weapon could traverse and elevate without obstruction, and that satellite communication functioned reliably despite being transmitted from inside hostile territory. Positioning the truck required surveillance teams to confirm Fakhrizade's travel patterns and identify the optimal ambush location. Intelligence detected increased activity at his Absard villa in mid-November, suggesting a weekend visit was likely. Analysts calculated engagement geometry for multiple points along the highway, factoring distance, elevation, line of sight, and escape route accessibility for the weapon platform. The selected position was a roadside area near the town of Absard, where the highway straightened for several hundred meters, providing extended time for target acquisition and engagement. The location offered elevation sufficient for the weapons cameras to see into vehicles despite windshield angle. Nearby side roads allowed the weapon truck to be positioned and abandoned without requiring it to remain in place for extended periods that might attract attention. On November 25th, 2 days before the assassination, the truck was moved into position and parked among other vehicles in a semi-commercial area where its presence wouldn't seem unusual. The weapon remained dormant, drawing minimal power to avoid detection while satellite systems maintained encrypted connection to the command post. Operators, located over 1,000 miles away at a facility whose location remains classified but is believed to be either in Israel or a neighboring country with cooperative intelligence services, received confirmation that all systems were functional and awaiting activation. Surveillance detected Fakhrizadeh leaving Tehran on the morning of November 27th, traveling eastward in his standard convoy configuration. Intelligence transmitted to the weapon system included confirmation that the target was en route and estimated time of arrival at the kill zone. The AI weapons platform activated its cameras and facial recognition algorithms, beginning the process of scanning approaching vehicles for the face it had been trained to recognize and eliminate. Final authorization came through satellite uplink minutes before the convoy entered the engagement area. A coded transmission from the command post to the weapon system, likely consisting of encrypted confirmation that removed the final safety protocol, preventing autonomous firing. From that moment, the operation was no longer under direct human control, but had become an algorithmic process. The AI would identify the target. The AI would calculate firing solutions. The AI would execute the kill. Operators watched through satellite feeds as the convoy approached. 3 armored vehicles moving at moderate speed along the highway. On their screens, data streams showed the weapon system's status. Cameras active. Facial recognition processing. Targeting solutions calculating in real time. Everything technological had aligned perfectly. What happened next would last less than 60 seconds, but would demonstrate conclusively that assassination had entered a new era where distance no longer protected targets and where security measures designed to counter human attackers proved useless against machines that didn't need to, breathe, didn't fear death, and executed their programming with mechanical precision. Friday morning, the 27th of November 2020. The highway outside Absard stretches quiet under pale sky, 2-lane asphalt cutting through terrain that rises gradually toward mountains in the distance. Traffic moves at normal flow. Civilian vehicles heading toward weekend destinations. Commercial trucks hauling goods between cities. Nothing suggests that in minutes this unremarkable stretch of road will become the site of an assassination that redefines what targeted killing means in the 21st century. Fakhrizadeh's convoy moves eastward from Tehran at moderate speed. 3 black Nissan sedans in formation. The lead vehicle scans ahead for threats. Fakhrizadeh rides in the center car, seated in the back passenger seat, his wife beside him. The trailing vehicle monitors approaches from behind. Armed guards occupy each car, weapons ready, communication open with Revolutionary Guard command centers tracking the convoy's progress. The security protocols that have kept him alive for over a decade are fully deployed. 150 meters ahead, parked among other vehicles near a commercial area, the weapon system activates. Cameras embedded in the truck bed begin scanning oncoming traffic. The AI processes visual data in real time, comparing faces visible through windshields against the training dataset of hundreds of Fakhrizadeh photographs. Algorithms calculate range, vehicle speed, trajectory. Gyroscopic stabilizers adjust the weapon's aim, compensating for minute vibrations and ensuring the barrel remains oriented toward the approaching convoy. The convoy enters the kill zone. Distance closes. 100 meters, 75, 50. The AI achieves target lock. Facial recognition confirms identity with high confidence threshold. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh. Center vehicle. Rear passenger seat. The system calculates firing solution, accounting for vehicle motion, windshield angle, predicted trajectory over the next 3 seconds. Autonomous firing protocols activate. The first burst erupts at 1:30 p.m. local time. 3 rounds fired in rapid succession, muzzle flash barely visible beneath the tarp covering. The sound cuts through afternoon quiet, sharp cracks echoing off nearby buildings. Rounds strike the center vehicle's windshield, penetrating glass and metal with kinetic energy designed to defeat light armor. 1 round impacts Fakhrizadeh's right shoulder. Another tears through the vehicle's interior, missing passengers by centimeters. The convoy reacts instantly but operates against an enemy whose location and nature remain unclear. The lead vehicle accelerates, attempting to clear the kill zone. Fakhrizadeh's driver brakes hard, confused whether to advance or retreat. The trailing vehicle's guards scanned for shooters, weapons raised, seeing no one. The weapon system fires again. 4 rounds this time, adjusted aim tracking the now slowing center vehicle. Impacts cluster around Fakhrizadeh's position. Rounds penetrate seat material, metal framework, human tissue. His wife throws herself across him, instinctive protection against an attack she doesn't understand. Guards exit vehicles, moving toward cover, returning fire in the general direction of the parked truck, but unable to identify a specific target. Fakhrizadeh slumps against the vehicle door, blood spreading across his shirt from wounds in his shoulder and back, consciousness fading. His wife screaming for help. The driver attempts to accelerate away from the engagement area, vehicle lurching forward before stalling under mechanical stress. The weapon fires a 3rd burst. 5 rounds. The AI has calculated that the target remains alive based on movement patterns visible through cameras. Rounds impact the vehicle's rear passenger area with precision that reveals the system's sophistication. No wasted ammunition. No spray and pray. Each burst aimed specifically at the confirmed target location. 1 round strikes Fakhrizadeh in the spine. Another tears through his neck. The damage is catastrophic. Arterial bleeding, spinal cord severance, injuries incompatible with survival even with immediate medical intervention. Total engagement time, 47 seconds from first shot to final burst. Guards approach the parked truck cautiously, weapons trained, uncertain what they're confronting. 1 guard reaches the vehicle, pulling back the tarp to reveal the weapon system beneath. Machine gun mounted on stabilization platform. Cameras still active. Electronics humming with power. No human operator visible. The realization forms slowly. This isn't an ambush by hidden shooters. It's a machine that is killed autonomously. Before they can retreat, the self-destruct mechanism activates. Explosive charges packed around the weapons, electronics detonate with enough force to destroy identifying components and wound the approaching guards. The blast tears through the truck bed, shredding metal and scattering fragments across the roadway. Smoke billows from the destroyed vehicle. The weapon system that executed the assassination ceases to exist as anything but twisted debris and burned circuitry. In the center sedan, Fakhrizadeh is dying. His wife holds him, blood soaking her clothes, her voice calling his name repeatedly. Guards attempt emergency first aid, applying pressure to wounds that are too extensive, too numerous. A helicopter is summoned for medical evacuation, but everyone present understands the futility. The damage is terminal. Fakhrizadeh loses consciousness at 1:33 p.m., 3 minutes after the first shot. Medics arrive at 1:41 p.m., finding him unresponsive, pulse barely detectable. He is airlifted to a Tehran hospital, where trauma surgeons attempt resuscitation despite obvious futility. Official time of death is recorded as 2:15 p.m., though medical personnel privately acknowledge he was effectively dead at the scene. On the highway outside Absard, Iranian security forces cordon off the area, beginning an investigation into an attack unlike anything they've encountered. The destroyed truck offers few answers. The weapon fragments suggest sophisticated military hardware. The precision of the strike indicates advanced targeting. But the absence of any human operator, any escape vehicle, any conventional assassination methodology leaves investigators grasping for explanations. Over 1,000 miles away, operators at a classified facility receive confirmation through encrypted satellite transmission. Target eliminated. System destroyed. Extraction complete. The operation has succeeded flawlessly, demonstrating that assassination no longer requires human proximity or risk, only technological superiority and the will to deploy it. Iranian investigators arrived at the scene to find evidence that defied conventional assassination patterns. The destroyed Nissan pickup sat gutted by explosion, its truck bed a crater of twisted metal and burned electronics. Fragments suggested sophisticated technology, a machine gun barrel warped by heat, circuit boards reduced to slag, shattered camera lenses, everything designed to self-destruct. Ballistic analysis indicated .50 caliber military-grade ammunition fired from approximately 150 meters with precision that suggested automated targeting. Electronics fragments hinted at satellite communication capabilities, encrypted data systems, and solar panels designed for extended dormancy. What disturbed Iranian security officials most wasn't the technology itself, but what it represented. Machinery that killed from a distance, controlled by operators who faced no physical danger and left no trail. Traditional counterterrorism responses, designed to prevent human infiltration, were useless against autonomous systems, smuggled in pieces and assembled remotely. Analysis of Fakhrizadeh's security protocols revealed no significant failures. His convoy had followed standard procedures. Routes had been randomized, yet he died anyway, killed by a weapon that didn't need to know his schedule in advance. International reaction formed along predictable lines. Israel maintained official silence, while unnamed officials expressed satisfaction to journalists. Western intelligence agencies privately acknowledged the operation's sophistication and worried about precedent. Iranian officials demanded international condemnation, but received only muted responses, formal statements expressing concern, but no substantive action. Technical reconstruction appeared in Western media within weeks, detailing the AI facial recognition system and satellite-controlled weapon. For Iran's nuclear program, the impact was immediate. Development timelines extended, coordination degraded, and intelligence assessments suggested a delay of 6 months to 2 years. Yet, the program itself didn't collapse. Other scientists stepped into leadership roles. Research continued, and Iran's determination to develop nuclear capability survived. What remained on that highway outside Absard was a scene rapidly returning to normalcy. The destroyed truck towed away, the road reopened, bullet impacts patched over. Within days, no visible evidence remained that anything extraordinary had occurred. The killing exposed fault lines in international order that governments acknowledged privately while maintaining public silence. In Tehran, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei vowed retaliation, while Iranian strategists confronted uncomfortable realities. Retaliating effectively required targets as valuable as the asset they had lost and operations with comparable precision. The asymmetry was stark. Israel could strike deep inside Iran with technological precision, while Iranian capabilities remained constrained to proxy attacks in third countries. In Tel Aviv, official silence prevailed. Strategic ambiguity maintained plausible deniability, while private briefings to journalists shaped public narrative. American reaction reflected the complicated alliance the Trump administration offered no condemnation, and intelligence cooperation had likely included sharing surveillance data. European governments issued carefully worded statements, their pragmatic calculation clear. Condemning Israel risked damaging intelligence relationships, while supporting Iran achieved nothing. International law scholars debated sovereignty violations, but the debate remained academic. Practical reality meant nations with sufficient technological capability could conduct assassinations with minimal accountability beyond diplomatic friction that faded quickly. Fakhrizadeh's assassination revealed something darker than any single death. It demonstrated that sovereignty had become negotiable for nations possessing sufficient technological capability. Borders, security protocols, and international law meant nothing when algorithms could identify targets and autonomous weapons could execute kills from continental distances. The threshold crossed wasn't technical but moral. Remote killing isn't new, but what changed was the removal of human presence from the entire operational chain. No pilot flew overhead. No operative entered hostile territory. No person pulled a trigger. The assassination was algorithmic, machines executing instructions from operators who faced no danger and would never be held accountable. This creates incentive structures that encourage rather than constrain violence. Traditional assassination carried costs that made political leaders hesitate. Remove those costs, and hesitation disappears. Intelligence analysts note accelerating autonomous weapons programs across multiple nations. China has tested AI-guided sniper systems. Russia demonstrated satellite-controlled weapons platforms. American Special Operations Command has commissioned autonomous targeting research. Proliferation extends beyond state actors. The components used exist in commercial markets, and security analysts worry that within a decade, non-state actors could deploy similar systems. Legal frameworks struggle to address technologies their authors never imagined. When no person can be definitively linked to a killing, who bears responsibility? For targeted individuals, defense becomes nearly impossible. Autonomous weapons can wait indefinitely, require no food or rest, feel no fear. Fakhrizadeh's security detail had performed correctly, yet he died anyway because protection designed for human threats proved useless against algorithmic ones. Iran's nuclear program continues despite Fakhrizadeh's death. New scientists lead research divisions. Assassination achieved tactical delay without strategic resolution. Somewhere in classified facilities, engineers refine the next generation of autonomous weapons. Operators train on systems that will execute kills with greater precision. The machinery that killed Fakhrizadeh wasn't dismantled, it was studied, improved, and prepared for deployment against the next name on lists that grow longer as the cost of assassination approaches zero. Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this investigation into algorithmic assassination changed how you see modern warfare, hit that like button and share this video. Subscribe because the operations governments deny reveal how power actually works, and we're exposing the machinery that operates in perpetual shadow. The next target is already being tracked. The next weapon system already in development. The next assassination waiting only for algorithms to confirm the face they've been trained to eliminate.